Alrighty, good morning. As a preface to this video, before I hop into the meat of today's video, I would like to say that um, I really enjoyed my time working at Target. I was an employee there 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years. Oh no, it's like five, four. Yes. They treated me very well. I actually ghosted them. I stopped showing up to work at the end. I was getting really overwhelmed with school. I think they put two and two together. 'Cause it had been mentioned to them before that I was struggling with school. It was my senior year of high school. Um, so I think they put two and two together for me. It was not a good way to leave things, but it's how I left them. But Target was great. I had a lot of fun. Um, there are ups and downs at any place you work, but Target was good to me. They were treating me very well. Um, I was a cashier there mostly, and then I worked on the floor a bit and did ship from store orders, stuff like that. Yeah, it was it was a good time. Uh, cool. Today we're going to talk about a hypothetical company. Um, Company G, for, I don't know, gratitude. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Company G, this hypothetical company. Let's say hypothetically, they were, a grocery store, retail business, some sort of thing like that, where you have checkout lanes. You have a large floor with a bunch of different items you can get, and then everything shoop condenses down in checkout lanes. Um, if you think of this as like an inflow outflow problem, like fluid dynamics, the is it Bernoulli's law, Bernoulli's equation, something like that. Um, Generally, you'll have faster flow through a tighter, more constricted space, which is, of course, inevitably the case in any large department store or a store with a massive floor. Like, it's different than, bodega or a thrift store or a local mom and pop shop, if that makes sense. So you have this large, generally faster flow. Um, you have to deal with more customers. And uh, So yeah, you might need more cash registers than your typical store, if that makes sense. And I was thinking about this. There is a company, Aldi, that provides stools and seating for their employees who are running the cash registers, which is awesome. That's great. Uh, in my estimation, I don't have any statistics on hand at all, but um, they're able to do it and the company's not going out of business. So it's not it's not a world ender. Um, they are still doing fine, I think. If anything, I think they're probably doing pretty well. They're making their way into, I think they're a German company, Aldi. Yeah, it sounds pretty Deutsch to me, so we'll go with it. No, it is a German company. But yeah, they're making headway in America, doing pretty well, and they give stools to the cashiers, and they're all right. So, uh, yeah, it's apparent that not providing, or yes, that providing seating for cashiers or um, uh, cash register attendants, what have you, providing seating is a really good thing. I would like to talk about self-checkout lanes. Self-checkout lanes have permanent seating. They're robots. They're machines. They're not they're might be robots. They're machines. And I like to personify machines. I like to imagine if I were a machine, if I were sitting there in the self-checkout lane, boop, 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 people are coming through, buying stuff. Uh, as a machine, well, we don't give them agency. First of all, they just run the numbers that we tell them to run. But anyways, um, they're seated, but they don't have the ability to get up. But of course, that's a thought experiment. This is hypothetical. We're talking about hypothetical company G. Um, and yeah, um, so there's the self-checkout machines at this hypothetical company that just stay there and they're essentially permanently seated. They're permanently plugged in to electricity, which is what allows them to keep running. So essentially, they're always charging. They're always charged. They're at like rest state. They're at homeostasis essentially for insofar as technology has homeostasis, they're at homeostasis, which is great. Um, Humans also can be at homeostasis or um, be at rest, we ebb and flow. We go to the gym, we work out, and we come home. Um, Quick point, you don't have to work out at the gym to be strong, to be fit. You really don't. If you're if you haven't done any exercise in a long time, I would recommend stretching as the first place to start. Don't worry about um, first off, uh, don't worry about how you look right now. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. Um, but yeah, just try not worrying about it. Try for a day. See how long you can go. Just be like, today I don't care, you know, and just see how it feels. As Lil Yachty, the philosopher, says, see how put it out there, see how you feel. Um, but humans, we have a supercomputer somehow here. We're like a supercomputer vehicle duality or some combination, and they're not entirely separate. Um, but anyways, our vehicles yes, they require maintenance. They require fuel, water and calories and all sorts of things. We have requirements, and then the maintenance, uh, or without maintenance, you will, uh, with a vehicle, if you don't take the vehicle to the shop at all, ever, and you never open the hood yourself, the balance of probabilities tells you that your vehicle is not going to have as long of a shelf life as someone who's much more careful, who takes better care of their car. And at this hypothetical company G, I, we mentioned Aldi, which is a real company, and they provide stools, and they're doing all right. At this hypothetical company, however, they have this policy. Uh, at Company G, I'm not sure, and this is, I'm not sure whether or not, 'cause I only know so much about Company G, and I'm not sure whether or not, um, let's say there's multiple stores. There's plenty of stores. There's stores across the country. I'm from the U.S., so you got me. I'm in the U.S. Come and sue me. Um, you have these hypothetical stores across the country. I can't tell. Let's say it's Company G and it's store number 238. Okay, number 238. I love numbers. At store 238 at this hypothetical Company G, um, there's a policy where you need a doctor's note to justify permission to sit on a stool while at a cash register. Interesting. Let's see if we can unpack that. I must admit, guys, I'm sorry. I'm only human. I had a little bit of coffee, a little bit of caffeine. Um, and I've been thinking about coffee and caffeine, when to use it, when not to, because it's clearly it kind of locks you in. It's great when you have one thing on your mind or like one job, like I'm doing this. Um, if you have questions about what you're doing and then you have caffeine, it just makes the questioning amped up and it's kind of weird. So that's how I'd be careful about coffee or caffeine stimulants in general. Make sure, or do the as much as you can. It's difficult. It's a very difficult game. I screwed it up for years, so trust me. Or not. Don't You can doubt me too. Um, and this is besides the point. This is what caffeine does actually. It lets me go off track. It lets me. It's not my fault. It's the caffeine's. Anyways, Company G, this hypothetical organization. Um, this hypothetical organization requires a doctor's note, a professional, medical professional, a licensed medical professional, to. I'm not sure of the details. I don't. At this hypothetical company, Company G, uh, I don't know whether or not they let people know of this policy. I don't need to know. All I need is that I need you guys to understand the hypothetical here, okay? That at Company G, and I'm not sure if it's just store 238 or all the stores. I don't know. I don't know. But the fact that it's at one of Company G's stores really bothers me. Like I want, Company G does a great job, um, hypothetically. and I want to make sure that the employees, the hypothetical employees, let's call them worker bees. Sure, the worker bees buzzing around at company G. I'm also a worker bee. I love. Bzz. I'm sorry. um, I want to make sure the worker bees are taken care of at company G. So, um, they require a doctor's note. They require permission. Let's unpack that. They, this company G requires you to, during your own time. Actually, oh, I don't even know if they require during their own time. I don't know if they provide. Let's 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 steel man company G. Let's run through the best case scenario. Okay, best case scenario for company G. They uh, give you paid time off. They provide transportation. They provide maybe consultation. Maybe you don't have to. Uh, but maybe perhaps some instructions. Yes, some guidelines for how to solicit such guidance or permission from a doctor. This doctor's note that we're talking about. What would seem quite unfair to me is if they required you during your own time to solicit this doctor's note. Okay, that seems like an imbalance of power um, at Company G. You know, uh, in this hypothetical, um, all Company G. Let's negate the worker bees buzzing around at Company G. Let's just think about Company G's bottom line because a lot of companies, well, every company has a bottom line. So this is indiscriminate of this could be any hypothetical company, but we're just uh, we're putting Company G in our crosshairs. Okay, we're focusing up. It's like I have a bow and arrow, and I'm really honing in on Company G. Um, the yes, the oh sorry, I lost my train of thought. My bad. I just got a little bit carried away there. Anyways, Company G has a bottom line like all other companies. I would love to hear how this is a separate thing. I would just love to hear from uh it's a hypothetical company though, so I'm never gonna hear, which is unfortunate. Um if this hypothetical company were to ever exist, I would love to hear how this how this improves your bottom line. Okay? I would love to hear how perhaps if the worker bees at your company, um, I would love to hear how, because essentially what I see at this hypothetical company is they are, if let's say the bees' health, because bees are, I think when they sting, they perish shortly after. Um, but regardless, bees have a finite lifespan. So we're talking about worker bees at company G. It may as well be Hive G, like it's just a beehive. I should have gone with the beehive metaphor earlier. That's okay though. We'll stay with company G. Um, hypothetical. And at company where let's see if I can bzz my way to where I was. Oh yes, company G, as all companies do. It's funny that my last name is Marx, because some dude way back in Germany thought about these things, these power imbalances, these uh, like Lady Justice, the blind eye and the scale. There seems to be an imbalance because Company G, in this hypothetical, by requiring a doctor's note for a minor convenience, minor or no, 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 a major convenience, a major convenience. I am not going to, uh, we're not going to lambast Company G just yet. Okay, we're going to wait a little bit. Um, it is one of the most, in my view, and this is speculation about a hypothetical Company G. It is one of the grossest imbalances of power. Okay, um, in this hypothetical, Company G tries to, or appears to be trying to improve their bottom line by by making the acquisition of permission to sit down during, I wonder how long the bees are buzzing around. Let's go with 8 hours, okay? Just a random number, 8 hours. Um, It's not random. It's actually I wonder where it came from. It's the 8-hour workday. It's commonplace across the country. So hypothetical company G is has that. And they are withholding a major convenience for each of the bees. You know, like the queen bee at the top, let's say, is withholding this major convenience from all the worker bees. Um, major, substantial. The queen bee, the queen bee doesn't need to stand. The queen bee doesn't need to be flying around all day. The queen bee can sit in a comfy metaphorical office chair and can just uh, do it. And the queen bee does. The queen bee has a lot of responsibility. They have a lot of overhead. Uh, the beehive has a lot of overhead. You have beehive logistics. You have beehive H&R. You have beehive R&D. You have beehive product management. You have beehive product research. You have beehive uh, uh, like internal finances. You have the beehive C-suite. This is all hypothetical. Um, what I see is a bunch of queen bees or bees that have managed to conglomerate themselves, and they don't need to fly around all day. And bees that don't need to fly around all day get really ass backwards about the worker bees saying, hey, my wings, I'm flapping them for 8 hours a day, and it doesn't feel that good all the time. Like it is healthy to fly to compare it to humans, to stand up and walk around. That's good for the human body. But to do it for 8 hours on end without break, um, how fun do you think it would be for a bee to fly for 8 hours a day? Or, maybe bees have that capability. But bees, um, do they fly endlessly until they die? No, they crawl around on the honey. They do, and they get the honey and then zoom, they're back. Um, it's like it's like the queen bees and this harem of bees, the at the top of the bee chain. I don't know, the beehive hierarchy of sorts. It's like they are saying, if your unless your wings are this is hypothetical, unless your wings are substantially broken, unless unless your wings have, I would say, substantial wear and tear. I don't know, but that's the sort of thing I'm aiming for. Unless you can prove to us, the bees, oh, we know what's best for the beehive. Yes, yes, we do. Do you guys flap your wings all day? No. So I would love to hear and I will never hear from this hypothetical beehive, because it's not real. Okay. These bees at the top aren't flapping their wings all day. So, um, it makes things a bit difficult. And yeah, they're saying you can't eat the honey. You can't, walk around because they fly, and they get the honey, and then they walk around on the honey. It's like they're saying you can't you can't let's say they're allowed to partake in the honey, but they can't rest their wings. Yes, that's a great example. And I might hear from the bees. Yes, you might hear from the bees. Oh, the bees are allowed. Um, let's say we'll go with the 8 hours. We'll say, oh, the bees. Well, in America, real world now, you have like 15-minute breaks and 30-minute breaks. The 30-minute breaks tend to be unpaid at most companies, I think. But some companies will also do a 15-minute, or the 30-minute breaks, yes, unpaid. Some companies will also do a 15-minute paid break, which is great. Appreciate that. But it seems to me that the worker bees, oh, we're back in the hypothetical. Back in the hypothetical, guys, okay? Back in the hypothetical. Company G is really uh, Beehive G, In this beehive, it sounds like it appears to be the case. I'm looking from the outside in. I've never flown around this hypothetical beehive because it doesn't exist, guys, okay? It doesn't exist. It's like they're saying you can eat some honey, but you have to keep flapping your wings, or or no, it's is that. That's one option. It's one way to replenish, to keep the wings flapping. Essentially, is you can have honey, which does help. Um, the other thing, it seems like they, if I were to guess, I miss the idea of collective bargaining. Collective bargaining is sick, and it goes wrong sometimes because the like in the NBA, I don't think the players fully understand what they're asking for. Um, or they do, they do. A lot of them are very sharp. My background is Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown, past tense. Where did that come from? Jalen Brown, you are. I love you. I love you so much. I'm a Boston Celtics fan till the day I die. I love you, Jalen. Um, and is Grant Will, G Will, baby. I think G Will and Malcolm are there. Oh, G Will's going to Dallas. That's what a goofball. But I think Jalen, you had some work with the NBA Players Association. Um, but I think there's some directions which the NBA is going well and some that aren't going as well, if that makes sense. But I think about these things. I really care. Um, anyways, shout out to Jalen. Boston loves you, even if our fans are at times insufferable. We're, it's just it's. I'm sorry. I really am. And I think we might get defensive. We do get defensive. Yes, we get very defensive. We're like, no, we don't. We kind of are assholes. We're massholes. That's what we are. But we love you guys. We love the entire team. Um, and shout out, of course, to Danny Ainge, who's no longer with the Celtics, but many of his draft picks are, and his legacy will live on for a while. Anyways, hey Danny, um, it is where was I? Oh yes, the bees. It's like the bee, like, or anyways, let's go. Really, where did my where did my caffeine go? That's a good question. I don't know. Let me pause this and then get some more caffeine so I can really iron out some kinks. Okay. All right, I don't know where I was, but I got a little more caffeine. Um, yeah, one of the grossest power imbalances at this beehive. It's hilarious. Are you kidding me? Like I said, there's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of ways you can make it easier to solicit, to procure is the right word. Not solicit, procure, to procure, but it's not even procuring permission, is it? It's procuring the chance to get permission. That's a different thing. It's not a guarantee. So even if it is the case that you are not, let me fuel up a bit because I've had it up to here with Company G, Beehive G, just buzzing. Um, I will say, I don't know what I'm going to say. Yes, it's not the guarantee of going to a medical professional and saying, yes, your wings are pretty worn down. You need to, go to like a bee mechanic, and the bee mechanic says, yes, your wings, you ought to be allowed to, like, to stand on Earth, to stand on a solid object. For the bee, that's the bee in this case. If I were to draw a hypothetical to humans, Homo sapiens, I would say sounds a lot like giving a human a seat, a place to rest. Um, One thing I will point out to Beehive G. Actually, I can't point it out to Beehive G because I'm now stuck with this. Oh yes, let me point this out to, or let me applaud Aldi for their. We're having fun. Let me applaud Aldi for giving them seats. And the reason there's a difference between working on the floor and standing in one place. As I'm sure Aldi understands this. When you're walking around, that is much different than standing in one place. Okay, standing in one place puts a lot more stress on your joints. I don't even know this. I flunked out of college, so I'm surely spewing just things that are nonsense. Surely. Standing on your feet is much different than walking around. Much different. So, you are if you were to not provide seating to employees, you would be deliberately harming them more so than employees who walk around on the floor. Maybe it's not deliberate. It's not deliberate necessarily in the in the yeah. So you can be a good faith actor and or yes, maybe not deliberate. So you can be acting in good faith and still harm. Um, in this case, but it's a maybe. I don't know. I don't have the studies. I don't have the doctor's notes in my head. Okay, so it's a little different. Um, it's not deliberate in that sense. It's more so like the choice. Yes, I think it's like the result of the choice is that it harms employees. So essentially, not only because you have a power imbalance with a company, large company, a conglomerate, or corporation, any corporation. Um, you have that, and then you have tends to be the case that there are many more employees that are not part of the corporate enterprise, or they are part of the corporate enterprise, but they're on the ground. They're foot soldiers in a sense. Yes, the army generals, which is like the boardroom in a sense, and then you have the soldiers who actually go out to fight. And the best armies throughout history have always had soldiers that came through the ranks that started as foot soldiers and then worked their way up because uh, they understand all aspects and they don't uh, discount the experiences, the complaints of those who were on the ground. Anyways, just a side thought. It's not even, yes, it's not a guarantee that you will be provided uh, a resting place for a bee, a helipad. Yes, you guys are saying, or just ground, ground. Bee fly wants to rest. Can I lay on the ground, which costs virtually nothing? It only costs the company a little bit on the bottom line. It literally costs the company the only thing besides. Let's compare this to. Let's talk about Aldi because Aldi in this case, they're providing the seating. Um, they're providing the seating. What is the cost to them? If you have a cashier who's solely responsible, let's not think about the cashier's responsibility to stock things. Let's just say they're only a cashier. Today's my only job is to be a cashier. I like the self checkout machines. And what do we pay them? Zero. That's unfortunate. I'm not saying we necessarily have to pay them, but we should be more aware of them and what we ask them to do. And we're asking our employees to become closer and closer to approach. Um, we're asking them to. You're If it were to be the case that a company were to ask an employee to both stock the floor and hypothetical and to act as a self-checkout machine, a robot that just stands there and waits for people, um, feels like you're trying to have it both ways in a sense. Because the robot, the self-checkout machine, is resting. It doesn't take very much for it to do its job. It just needs a power source that's connected. Um, It would be like yes, the self-checkout machine is like a worker who's sitting down and has like a very slow IV attached to them. They're just getting exactly what they need. And they're, they have like music on in the background, they're chilling, they're just vibing. And they scan the items in this hypothetical world. All the uh does a really good job of approximating this or getting closer to that sort of goal because they provide seating. And what does it cost them? A stool and maybe some productivity. Maybe that, yes, it could be the case that they could stock some areas of the floor. And I don't even know if this is the case. They might do both. They might. I suspect they probably do. But for some reason, if a company, this beehive, it's like the beehive, the bees feel justified in asking the worker bees um, to to take a chance on maybe getting permission from a medical professional to then the bee medical professionals. Of course. The bee mechanics. They're getting permission from the bee mechanics. They get a note from the bee mechanics that does not guarantee that they can that they can sit on the ground and rest their wings. And if it is the case that they are having to do that out of their own bee pockets, what are we doing? Hello? What? That's not good. Um, yeah, that would be. I'm thankful. Very thankful for Aldi. They are, in my view, in my opinion, these are my own views. Aldi's doing a tremendous job of, and perhaps there are other issues at their company. I don't know, but in my view, from my limited scope of knowledge, I don't know everything. I just talk about what I see, and I churn do in here. And I like to. I'm the kind of person who likes to not Google things and see if I can come up with the answer or intuit something that's close and see what the result is. Um, but yeah. Um, imagine, yeah, imagine requiring someone to go to a bee mechanic or a worker bee. A worker bee has to go to a bee mechanic just to have the chance to get permission to sit on the ground. And let's say the ground in this example costs 1 cent because, seating, stools, they're pretty cheap. And for many companies, let's say, I'm sure Aldi probably already has stools or seating already on deck. So what they are literally withholding permission. That is the only thing. They are withholding permission because it hurts their bottom line. That is really not funny at all. You are in this hypothetical. If the beehive, they're essentially wearing out the wings willfully. Um, maybe they're not fully aware. Maybe the bee conglomerate up here. I think this is actually. It appears to be the case for this hypothetical imaginary beehive that um, I don't believe they're either unaware or they're not unaware. And there's degrees of awareness. You can forget things, you can be aware for moments, and then it subsides. It appears to be the case that something is afoot, something is awry in the calculation for the worker bees. Their wings do not last forever. And it seems that the beehive conglomerate top, the uh, the bee suite. We'll go with the bee suite. Oh, the bee suite. We love the bee suite. Okay. Seems like the bee suite, and it's not just the bee suite. It's the bee suite. I don't like a lot of the bees can be acting in good faith in the bee suite. The bees can be acting in good faith throughout the corporate enterprise. The queen bee essentially queen bee like scattered, and because the queen bee in this example is just one bee, but for corporations it tends to be many different people, many interworking. It's almost like a beehive in and of itself, and then a bunch of different beehives, like a beehive that keeps track of all other beehives, if that makes sense. Um, I've gone on rambling for a pretty long time. Um, but let's say, for example, I mean, I think I hope you guys are getting what or just in the. I hope you guys just understand the nature of the beehive, and it seems like the beehive is complicit. The beehive is complicit in wearing out the wings of the bees in exchange for a better bottom line. That is true. I don't need to know. It's a hypothetical, okay? It doesn't even exist. And I don't need to know whether it's intentional or not. I do care. Actually, I do. It does matter a lot. But for the sake of argument, I don't need to know. All I'm pointing out is there is complicity. There is complicitness. Actually, no, no, no. I think complicit. Oh, complicit might require awareness of what one is doing. So maybe complicit might not be the right word. Um, maybe like unknowingly complicit. Sure, yes. Which might be an oxymoron, but it gets the point across. They could be unknowingly complicit or condoning um like ignorantly condoning, maybe ignorantly complicit, ignorant. uh you know what I'm talking about. My last name is Marks. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm laying down. I'm just here to point out what I see, and I love the beehives. you know the beehives got cool stuff. They got cool honey. I love honey. Okay. um you know I ain't a beehive hater. I I love the bees. I forget who I'm Quoting, I like I like some of the Gaga songs. Um, I love the Beehive, but what does the bee suite and its that's a um it's the bee suite and their friends. What the do the bee suite and their friends know about wing health? They know how much money they can make off of it, so long as new bees keep spawning in. Thanks for tuning in. Next time, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. I don't. Ah, see ya.